Okay, hello everybody. My name is Amrit Kamal Linka, and today I'm going to teach you magnetism. So, a brief intro about me. So, I've done a BTech from IIT Guwahati, and I've been teaching physics for about 5 years now. So, I specialize in teaching for IT, JEE, and NEET. So, even this topic that I've chosen now, it's just above the level of NEET. So, let's just get started with. So, if we look at the lesson objectives, what we're going to learn today. So the first is about magnets and magnetic force. This is something that has been introduced to you since your school years. Second is magnetic field. Now some people might be aware of this, but we'll learn in detail how to draw a magnetic field or how to recognize the shapes. Third, what is the force experienced by electric charge in a magnetic field? So if you have electrically charged bodies, how do they behave in a magnetic field? So what is the force experienced by them? The different cases that we are going to study. And the last will be cyclotron. Now if you haven't heard about this, it's a fairly pretty useful instrument in the medical science. So they use it for cancer treatment and all. So we'll look into the uses, and we'll also see what its working principle is based on. It's based on obviously principles of magnetism. So let's get started with the first slide. So what is a magnet? Now a magnet, we obviously know that it attracts certain objects made from specific metals. Now a magnet won't attract anything and everything under the sun. It won't attract an orange apple or a mobile phone. It attracts specific things like your iron and steel. But again, you can see that it does not attract other metals like copper. So again, magnets, they repel or attract each other. So here you can see an example that I've drawn here, that I've given here. You can see that there are two magnets here, but they are not attracting each other, but they're repelling each other. So in which cases do magnets attract and in which cases do they repel? We'll see soon. Now a magnet when all alone. So when a magnet is all alone and there is no there are no other magnets in and around it which can attract or repel it, then what does it do? How does it behave? Now there is a small experiment here that we can see. So hang a small magnet by a string from the ceiling. So hold a magnet by a string with a hand, just suspend it freely in air, or have it float freely on water as I've shown in the diagram. Now what we see is when we do this, in both the cases the magnet always aligns itself in a particular direction. Okay, whether it be in water or whether you're hanging it through by a string, it turns and stays in a particular direction. Now what is that direction? Why is it doing so? Let's go into that. So we see that the magnet always aligns itself in the direction of the poles of the earth. So if you see the earth and you know that there is a north pole and a south pole, you see that these magnets always align themselves along the north south direction. Okay, now why is this happening? Let's see in the later slides. So we see that the one side of the magnet points towards the north pole and the opposite side faces the south pole. So these are just observations that we are seeing straight away just from focusing on the magnet. Now let's look in detail into each of these as to why are these things happening. So as we said, a magnet anywhere on earth always points towards the poles in isolation. In isolation means that it should not be in the surrounding of any other magnet which can attract or repel it, so it should be in isolation, nothing around it, and then you see that they always align themselves along the north south poles of the earth. So here you can see that the compass is an example of a magnetic needle, in fact. So here you can see that the compass has a needle inside it, which is obviously magnetic in nature. It's a magnetic needle. Now when you see that needle, it always points towards one direction. So the compass, we know that we have marked a direction of it as north, which points towards the north pole. So wherever you take the compass, it will always in isolation point towards the north pole, and that will tell you the direction of the north pole. So the compass, you'll always see a marked end which points towards the north pole. Here the marked end is this one. You can see a red color arrow. Alright. So why is it so that the compass turns in a particular direction or a magnet in isolation turns in a particular direction? So we say that magnets experience an invisible force. Now this force is called magnetic force, which turns them in a particular direction. So we see, you can look at the diagram on the right here of the earth. Now whenever you place any compass at any point here, the compass will always point along the arrow directions as shown here. So here you can see that the earth is shown as a south-north magnet, which we'll talk about later. Let's not go into that right now. So we say that the earth has a magnetic force in and around it. The directions are shown by the arrows here. So whenever a compass is placed anywhere in the earth, it aligns itself in the direction of these arrows. So this is called magnetic force, an external force coming from somewhere which is causing this magnet to move. So who creates this magnetic force? Alright, now let's be very clear on this. Only magnets create magnetic force. So if earth is creating a magnetic force, that means there must be a kind of a big magnet inside the earth. Now why is the earth acting like a magnet? We cannot be very sure about this. There are many theories about it. So the most famous theory is that there are molten materials and metals revolving inside the earth in the crust and magma. So because of these metals revolving around, they create a magnetic field around the earth. Alright, so magnets create a magnetic force which either attracts or repels away other magnets. So here you can see an example. The first example is that in which the magnets are repelling each other. They are chasing away each other. They don't want to come near each other. The second, you must have seen this as a product called rattlesnake eggs. These two magnets are obviously very closely attracting each other. So magnets might either attract or they repel each other. Now, how do we know in which case will they attract or in which case will they repel? Let's look into that too. So we know that magnets create magnetic force, but there is a scientist called Hans Christian Ørsted who found out that not only magnets but there are other phenomena that can create magnetic force too. So what is that phenomenon? He saw that wires carrying electric current, they also create magnetic force, and because of that creation of magnetic force they deflect some magnets kept nearby. So here you can see very clearly in this picture that this is a wire that they're holding in their hands, which is connected to a battery, obviously to a plus positive terminal and negative terminal, and this current flowing through it. Now what they're trying to show here is, when you hold the wire just above a compass, you see that the compass starts deflecting. Now we know that if a compass needle deflects, it is only under the action of a magnetic force. So who is giving magnetic force in this case? Obviously, because the electric wire is causing this, the electric wire must be creating some kind of a magnetic force. Let's look into this, what exactly it is. So if I see closely, when there is no current in the electric wire, the magnetic compass is freely pointing towards the north direction. Alright. So that's very clear in this diagram. But when you see that a current starts passing in the electric wire, then the compass has deflected. Earlier the compass was pointing towards the north direction. Now it is simply pointing in a special direction. What do you mean by special direction? You can see that the direction of the compass is perpendicular to the direction of the current. So here you can see that earlier when there was no current, you can see that it was only in the pointing towards the north direction, but now after you have passed the current, this was this earlier orientation and now it has shifted towards this. So what I can say is that this new orientation I can see is always perpendicular to the electric field. Sorry, not to the electric field, to the electric current direction. Now this is just an observation. Now let's see what can we deduce from these observations. So I'll give you one more example. So here you can see current passing through a straight wire in the upward direction. I'm sorry. Yeah, so this is a current wire, and you can see that the current right now is 0. So when the current is 0, all the compasses kept around the wire are pointing in the same direction. What is the direction going to be? Obviously the north direction. So the north direction is in this direction, that's what we know. Now these compasses are showing the north direction because right now they are under the influence of the Earth's magnetic field. So the Earth's magnetic field tells every compass to point in the north direction. So right now, because it's just the Earth's magnetic field acting, so every compass is only influenced by the Earth's magnetic force, and thus everybody is pointing towards the north direction. But when you start a current in this wire, what happens is you see deviations in the compass. Now the first thing is you see that at every point the compass needle has a particular directions. But if you look them in the big picture, you see that the compass needles show that the magnetic forces are acting in a circular direction. So wherever you keep the compass at one point, it shows the direction of the magnetic force at that point. So when you look at the magnetic force at different points, you see that they are circular in nature. Hence this is the diagram we see, where in a current carrying straight wire you see magnetic forces acting in circular directions. Now how do we know the direction of this magnetic force? Now we know that the compass needles always points in the direction of the magnetic force. Now in this case I can argue that yes, the magnetic forces are circular, alright, but I can see very clearly that in this case the magnetic force is acting in the anti-clockwise direction. When the current is going upwards, the magnetic force, when you look from above, they are acting in the anti-clockwise direction. So how do you show the direction of the magnetic field depending on the direction of the current? So you use this method, the hand method. So always point your thumb, your hand along the direction of the electric current, and the direction in which your fingers are curling, they give you the direction of the magnetic force. So here you can see the current is in the upward direction and the magnetic force is in the shape of the fingers curled. Okay, so until now we have seen that the earth creates a magnetic force, a magnet can create a magnetic force, and a current carrying wire can also create a magnetic force. It's not just pure magnets that can create a magnetic force, even current can also create a magnetic force. So this is what Hans Christian Oersted saw, that whenever you hold a electric current carrying wire near a compass, the compass will deflect. Now we must know in which direction should it deflect. Now we saw that to know the direction of magnetic force, put the thumb along the direction of the electric current and your finger curling will give you the direction of the magnetic force. Now if you see the first diagram where the current is going from left to right, if I point my fingers in this direction from left to right, I see that the fingers are curling towards me and downwards. So if you see, if you try to draw the magnetic field lines around this point, so you will try to draw magnetic field lines which look like this. Hence you can see that under the current carrying wire, if it is like this, if the current carrying wire is like this and the magnetic field lines are going like this, so always use the right hand, never use the left hand, that's one more important rule. So you can see this is the current carrying wire and these things are going under. So you see that the current carrying wires are coming towards you and then going away from you from under. Hence you see that the south north direction, which was like this before on the compass, it tries to get into this direction under the wire into the page. Similarly on the opposite side, you see that if the direction of current is reversed, if it's going like this now, then the magnetic forces will curl in this direction. So in this case it will go like this and come from beneath out of the page. So from beneath the wire, when it's coming out, it comes out of the page, and hence you can see that the north pole of this compass, it tries to come in this direction. Alright, so what is the compass needle here? It shifted like this towards the towards inside the page, and in the right case the compass needle like this shifted towards me outside of the page. So this again, the direction of this can, the direction of the deviation of the compass needle depends on the direction of the magnetic force, and the direction of the magnetic force can easily be calculated by using this diagram. Using a right hand, thumb in the direction of the current, then the fingers give you the direction of the magnetic force. Let's move ahead. So what's a magnetic field? Now we know that these magnetic forces are invisible, obviously we cannot see them, but we need some way to denote these on paper for better understanding. So how do we show magnetic force on a paper? Now when we saw the previous example of compass kept around a current wire, in this case, we saw that at different points the magnetic force is in different direction. Okay, and at that point, how do you find out the direction of the magnetic force? Put a compass there. The needle points in the direction of the magnetic force. So seeing the direction of the needle, you can find out the direction of the magnetic force acting at that point. So using the same concept, look at this picture very carefully. In this, there is a bar magnet here, the north pole is seen here. Now they have put a compass right at this point. Now at that point, you see that the compass needle is pointing in this direction. That means at that point, the direction of the magnetic force is also in this direction. Similarly, when they have kept the compass here, you see that the north is pointing towards this direction, and hence we conclude that the magnetic force at that point is also in the same direction. So what we do this, now at different places, one by one, we go on plotting the magnetic force directions. Now when we plot the magnetic force directions one by one on a line, we then draw this line together, and a continuous line is drawn by joining all the directions at successive points. Now this line is called the magnetic field line. We know that magnetic forces are acting along this line. So when you do this around a magnet, you get something like this. So you can see the diagram. At this point, the magnetic field is pointing in that direction. Here the direction has changed again. So here you can see it's completely opposite to the direction of, it's parallel to the direction of south north of the magnet. So here you can very clearly see that magnetic field lines kind of look as if they are coming out of the north pole and getting back into the south pole. Now this is a very important conclusion of a simple bar magnet. In a simple bar magnet, the magnetic field lines come out at the north pole and they go back into the south pole. Now uh, a very interesting doubt can be, after going back into the south pole, what happens to the line? Does it stop there? Are new lines created at the north pole every time? And do these lines always end at the south pole? Now this is a very important question. Now before going into this, let me just tell you that the collection of all magnetic field lines around the source, when you draw all these lines together, they are called what is the magnetic field. So when you draw all the lines together, they can be magnetic field. But you may ask that how many lines should we draw? Here these guys have drawn 3 lines. Obviously if you keep compass in between here, you can draw one more line in between. In fact, you can draw infinite lines in between these 2 lines. So it's not very important as to how many lines you draw, you just give a general idea. Obviously there are infinite magnetic field lines going through the same process there. So you cannot draw each and every line, but you try to give an idea by drawing 3-4 lines. Okay. So this is the best example of the magnetic field around a bar magnet. So here you can see in the left diagram that there are magnetic field compasses placed everywhere. Now at each point, the direction of the north will give you the direction of the magnetic field lines. So if I take any one example, let's say I take this. So at this point, So at this point the magnetic field line is in this direction. Oh, I'm very sorry. Just give me a second. Yeah. So at this point the magnetic field line is in this direction. Okay. The next one, it is in this direction. The previous one, it was coming again this direction. So if we try to draw a logical path, we can see that the path is coming towards the south pole, and you can see lines coming out of the north pole. Okay. So a good representation is given on the right side, where you can see lines coming out from the north pole and getting back into the south pole. Now coming back to my previous question, that what happens to these lines after they go into the magnet. So understand this point very clearly. All these lines are continuous. What do you mean by continuous? Continuous means that these lines which come out of the north pole get back into the south pole, and inside the magnet they continue running from south to the north pole. So you can see that they are causing closed lines or closed loops. So all magnetic field lines are closed loops. They come out of the north pole, travel across the world, get back into the south pole, and inside the magnet they continue running from south pole to the north pole. So they all are connected, closed, joined lines or loops. So these are, in scientific terminology, they are called magnetic loops in more common words. So same again as we said, due to electric current, that around an electric current wire, you see magnetic field lines in circular directions around it. So you can see magnetic field lines here in concentric circles. Now the direction of the magnetic field depends on the direction of the current. As you see here, if the current is going upwards, the curling fingers give you the direction of the magnetic field. If you reverse the current, the curling fingers will curl in the opposite direction. So sometimes you get an anti-clockwise magnetic field and sometimes you get a clockwise magnetic field. The last best example, that the earth is also a magnetic field. So see the image on the right, you can see that at each place the compasses are just pointing in the northern directions towards the north pole at each direction. So you can see that all these lines, the magnetic field lines, are in this direction, as you can see. So what do you see from this? If you see that at earth, magnetic field lines are kind of coming out from one point at the south pole, and they're all going back at one point into the north pole. This means that even the earth is acting as two poles. So where are the lines coming out from? That's supposed to be the north pole of a magnet. But we see that the lines are coming out from the geographic south pole. But magnetically it is the north pole. So remember this thing very nicely, that the geographic south pole is actually the magnetic north pole, and the geographic north pole is actually the magnetic south pole. Just the reverse of this. Very important point to remember. Many questions are always asked on this as trick questions. So the earth is a huge magnetic field. Obviously the magnetic field is not so strong because the compasses are not seen as heavy magnets just rushing away along the magnetic field. They just deflect a little. If magnetic force would have been very strong, all the iron steel objects would have started moving towards the north pole. But that doesn't happen. So uh, it's a very weak magnetic field that the earth creates. So magnetic field can be visualized. How do you visualize a magnetic field? So we saw that if you put compass at each point, it gives the direction of the force at each point. But instead of doing that big thing, how do you get an overall picture of the magnetic field in the first go? A very easy example of doing this is using iron fillings. So iron fillings are very, very small iron particles. They're like iron powder. You can call them as iron powder. Now whenever you pass electric current or around a magnet, you spread iron fillings all around it. And you see that magically they take up a shape. They take up a pattern. Now you can see in this thing that you see that the current wire is passing through the paper, and you can very it's not very clear, but you can roughly see that the iron fillings have distributed themselves in circular patterns around the wire. Okay, So this is a proof of what? Iron fillings get attracted by what? Magnetic force. So if the magnetic force is running in a straight line, all the iron fillings will also look as if going in a straight line. But if the magnetic fields are circular in nature, then obviously the iron fillings will also distribute circularly in nature. So as we saw that the straight current wire has magnetic field in circular directions, similarly this iron field shows the same story. Now here you can see a bar magnet. We had seen how the magnetic fields come out from North Pole and go to the South Pole. You can see that the iron fillings demonstrate exactly the same thing. You can see kind of patterns coming out from here and going towards the south. Not only that, even within the magnet, you can see straight lines between the north and south. That means magnetic field lines are passing through the magnet also, from the south pole to the north pole. The directions are very important to remember. Lines come out at the north pole, get back into the south pole, and inside the magnet they keep traveling from south to the north pole. Now on the right you can see there is a loop, okay, a current loop. It's a circular loop, it's not a straight current, it's a looped current, and that looped current also you can beautifully see magnetic patterns, okay. So they're circular at these points, and then as you go inside they start becoming like this, bigger, bigger circles around. So I hope that's very clear about magnets, magnetic force, the magnetic field, and all the stuff. So let's come to magnetic poles. So when you look at poles, what do they mean? So every magnet has two poles, north pole and south pole. Obviously, if they're named differently, they must be behaving differently. So these opposite ends of a magnet, they always show opposite behavior. So what does that mean? Here you can see that the magnetic field lines are going from left to right. Now you see that one pole of the magnet gets attracted towards the right along the direction of the magnetic field, but the other pole, it gets attracted or it gets repelled or it experiences a force in the opposite direction away from the magnetic field. So in the presence of magnetic field lines, the two poles, they show the experience of force in different directions. Now which pole goes along the magnetic field and which pole goes opposite to the magnetic field, let's see. So always, before going to that, now even in a bar magnet we know that there is obviously a north pole and a south pole. Now what we had mentioned before, the exact same thing is reiterated here. The magnetic field lines, they come out at one end and they go back into the other end. They come out from the north pole and they go back into the south pole. So the end of the magnet from where magnetic field lines emerge is called the north pole. The end of the magnet wherein the magnetic field lines disappear into is called the south pole. Now look at this. We brought that magnet near a bar magnet. Now what we see, that the guy which is going away, facing a force away from the magnet in the direction of magnetic field, this guy is called the north pole. And the person which is facing force towards the magnet, you can see that the force on this is opposite direction of that of the magnetic field there. So that is obviously the south pole. Now here you can see very crudely, I can say that north pole gets repelled by a north pole, but a south pole always gets attracted to a north pole. Now again, understand very carefully the theory behind this, that when magnetic field lines come out from the north pole, they are going away from the north pole. When another south pole comes there, it sees the magnetic field lines goes away, but it doesn't go away with the magnetic field. As I said, a south pole experiences force opposite to the direction of the magnetic field line. So it faces a force, so it experiences force towards the magnet. Now here you can see that when two magnetic bar magnets are brought together, south and south, they are repelling, so they don't attract each other. And it's very important to see how the magnetic field lines look like in the space between them. So here you can see that the magnetic field lines due to south and south are repelling each other, but they never cross each other. That's very important. But here you can see that here there is some kind of a coexistence where lines coming out of the north pole are getting into the south pole of this device directly. So instead of going around the world and coming back to its own south pole, the magnetic field lines are coming out from the north pole of one magnet and directly going into the south pole of the other magnet. So here you can see that because the magnetic field lines are very strongly intense inside, these guys must be attracting each other. The forces are towards each other. So this is a case where you have attractive force when you have unlike poles coming near each other, and when you have like poles, the same poles coming near each other, they always repel each other. You can see that the magnetic field lines do not cross each other and they want to stay away from each other. So properties of a magnetic field. Now in this diagram, obviously there is a bar magnet somewhere here and we have shown the magnetic field line direction. Now in a magnetic field, can I say that at some point I will experience more magnetic force and at some point I will experience less magnetic force? If that is true, then how do I decide? Where will the force be less and where will the force be more? So let's look at very important properties of magnetic field. The first one is magnetic field lines never cross each other. They never ever will ever cross with each other. Now I'll give you an example as to why. Let's say magnetic field is like this. What does it mean? If I take a compass here, the compass will obviously point in the direction of the arrow. But let's say if there are two magnetic field lines crossing each other. Now if I take a magnetic compass at this point, in which direction will the needle show? Will the needle point out towards the first arrow or the second arrow? Right? So this is a very common theoretical proof that if a magnet compass, if two magnetic field lines are crossing, then at that intersection a compass needle cannot point in both the directions, or it cannot point in the average direction. That's not possible. Hence, this shows that all magnetic fields are always separate from each other. At any point, a compass always points in one direction. That means there is always one magnetic field line going through that area. Two field lines can never cross each other. Next, the strength of magnetic force at any point is indicated by the density of field lines. So I have taken two examples here. You can see A and B. So in A and B, you can see that there are more magnetic field lines passing through A. The intensity of lines crossing through that area is more at A. Hence, we say that any person at A will experience a larger amount of force compared to a magnet situated at B. Okay, second point. Third, last important point, magnetic field lines don't start or stop anywhere. They always make closed loops. Closed loops. They start at one point, go back the whole world and come back there. So even in the north and south pole, if a line is seen as coming out from the north pole, it travels all across the world, gets back into the south, and again inside the magnet travels from the south pole to the north pole. So if I just compare magnetic and electric fields, we know that electric fields are let's take some very basic differences. So electric fields are produced by two kinds of charges, positive and negative. Same magnetic fields are also associated with two kinds of poles, north and south. Like electric charges repel, plus and plus repel each other, even like magnetic poles also repel each other. You saw that the south pole and south pole are repelling each other, but south pole of one magnet and north pole of another magnet were attracting each other. Similar to the case of electric charges, where unlike attract and like repel. Next, electric field is in the direction of the force experienced by a positive charge. So how do you know if there is an electric field existing? If there is a charged body and the charged body is moving under a force, that means there is an electric force. The direction of the charged body will give the direction of the electric field. Same thing is there in magnet. If a magnet is at a place and if it is moving, that means there must be a magnetic force on it. In which direction is it moving gives me the direction of the magnetic field line at that point. So now we know that in an electric field, if this is an electric field, a plus charge will move along the electric field, but a minus charge will move opposite to the electric field. So which one do you always take in a definition? In a definition, that's why we always write the positive charge. We say that the direction in which the positive charge is moving, that is the direction of the electric field line. Similarly, as we take a positive charge for defining an electric field line direction, similarly we take only the north pole of a magnet to show the direction of magnetic field. We see in which direction is the north pole moving. The compass needle ka north pole, if it is moving towards the right side direction, that means the magnetic field line is in the right direction. So those are the similarities. What are the differences? So both of these are very important points. The differences are more important. So positive and negative charges can exist separately. Very important point. You have got protons separately and electrons separately. But north and south poles always come together. You can never see a magnet which has only a north pole. Okay? You can never have just a north pole where magnetic fields and lines are coming out, but they don't have a south pole to get back into. That can never happen. So any material, however small, if it acts as a magnet, one end of it will be a north pole and the other end has to be a south pole. Single magnetic poles or monopoles are never observed. Second, electric field lines are discontinuous. So let's say if I have a plus charge here and a negative charge here, then electric field lines, they start from the positive charge and the end at the negative charge. Okay, they start at one place and the end at one place. They have a starting point and a finishing point. But magnetic field lines are not like that. As I've repeated so many times today, that magnetic field lines are continuous loops. They come out from the north, travel the world, get back into the south, and inside the magnet they continue moving from the south pole to the north pole. Last, electric field is produced by a charge whether at rest or in motion. A charge, this positive charge, whether it is at rest or is in motion, in either case it has an electric field all across it, all around it, sorry. It is creating an electric field all around it. It is constantly emitting electric field lines across it. Okay, but magnetic field cannot be produced by a stationary charge. It can only be produced by a moving charge, as we saw in the direction of current. When current was moving in a wire, it produced a magnetic field in circular parts. So a stationary electric charge cannot produce a magnetic field, but a moving electric charge or a current can create these magnetic fields. So that's for now. So the second part of this is how to explain the force on a charged particle in a magnetic field. So it depends on many cases, but we'll look it up later in a separate class. That's all for now. So I'll just give you a brief snapshot without taking much time of this. So we'll not talk about this much in detail, but I'll just brief through the conclusions. So when a charge is at rest in a magnetic field, let's say the green lines are a magnetic field lines direction. If a charge is at rest and the velocity is zero, obviously, then there is no force on it. Similarly, not similarly, in another case, if the charge is moving parallel or anti-parallel to the magnetic field lines, again the force experienced by the body is zero. But if a body, if a charge moves in a direction perpendicular to the magnetic field, so here you can see the magnetic field lines, I've shown them as dots. So dots inside a circle represent magnetic field lines coming out of the page towards you, and crosses inside a circle represent magnetic field lines going into the page away from you. So here you can see the magnetic fields are coming towards me like this, and the velocity of and it's coming like this, and the speed of the electron is something like this, perpendicular to it. Hence in this case they experience a force. The direction of the force is given out by the vector formula or the vector notation. You can use the hands for also finding out the force. So what happens is, you see that electric charges, when they experience uh, magnetic force, when the velocity is perpendicular to the magnetic field, they experience a force also perpendicular to velocity, and hence it creates a circular motion. I'm not going very much into this detail. So whenever they create a circular motion, what we must be able to do is calculate the radius of the circular path, the time period of the circular motion, and so on. So this is for the cyclotron. Now cyclotron, sorry, not cyclotron. So it's a helix path. So if the velocity of the charged body is just perpendicular to the magnetic field, then you get a straight circle. It goes on going in the circle. But if it has a velocity even a little not perpendicular, so let's say here you can see that the angle between the velocity and the magnetic field is not exactly 90 degrees, it's somewhere in between. So what happens in that case is the velocity can be broken down into two components. One component which is parallel to the magnetic field, parallel or anti-parallel, whichever way, and the other which is perpendicular. So the velocity component that is parallel or anti-parallel to magnetic field, it creates no force on the electric charge as we saw before. So it has no effect. So it keeps moving along the magnetic field line. But the perpendicular velocity makes the electron go in a circle. So because of the velocity component perpendicular, the charged particle goes in a circle. Along with going in a circle, because of the parallel velocity, it keeps also moving in the forward direction. So you get the shape of a helix. Okay, so I'll not get into cyclotrons. So let's just end this topic here today. So the brief takeaway is that we can take from this topic was that first is okay. So first we saw the magnets, they align itself according to the Earth's magnetic field and they take a certain direction which shows that Earth is a magnet. Now magnetic force is created either by natural magnets or by electric current passing through a wire also. So electric current passing through a wire, it creates magnetic field in the circular directions. How to draw a magnetic field? You take a compass and keep at each point and note the direction of the compass needle. The direction of the needle at each point will give you the direction of the magnetic force at each point. Now at all these points you join the directions and you form a single straight line. So you can see magnetic field lines in a bar magnet, they come out from the north pole and they get back into the south pole and they keep moving within. Magnetic field due to Earth, very important point, that the north pole, the magnetic north pole of the Earth is actually the geographic south pole, and the magnetic south pole of the Earth is actually the geographic north pole. So visualizing magnetic field is very easy to do this even by using iron powder or iron fillings. When you spread them around a magnet, they align themselves in the direction of the magnetic field lines and they create a beautiful pattern. What are magnetic poles? As I said, there are two poles on the magnet, north and south. The north pole always moves along the direction of the magnetic field and the south pole always moves opposite to the direction of the magnetic field. So properties of magnetic field, magnetic field lines never cross each other. The strength of magnetic force at any point is equal to the density of the field lines crossing that area. So if there are many field lines crossing through a particular area, then obviously the magnetic force in that area will also be high. And third is magnetic field lines are closed loops. So they don't start somewhere and stop somewhere. They always make a closed loop. Comparing magnetic and electric fields. So the similarities are, as you have positive and negative charges, so you have north and south poles. Then as positive and positive charges or like charges repel, even like poles repel, and unlike poles, south pole of one magnet and north pole of another magnet, they will attract. Next, electric field is in the direction of force experienced by positive charge. So a positive charge, the direction in which it is moving, that is taken as the direction of the electric field. And a north pole, the direction in which the north pole wants to move, that will be taken as the direction of the magnetic field. Differences. So positive and negative charges can be separate. Protons and electrons exist independently, but north and south poles can never exist independently. They always are found together on the same material. Next, electric field lines are discontinuous. They start at somewhere and they end somewhere. Technically, they start at the positive charge and they end at the negative charge. But magnetic field lines are always continuous loops. Okay, they don't start or stop anywhere. They are going all throughout. Last is electric field is produced by charge whether at rest or in motion. So positive charge, even standing there or moving, it keeps generating these electric field lines outside of the body. But magnetic field can produced only by a moving charge. A stationary charge can never do anything, but a moving charge, which is nothing but current, creates a magnetic field. So that's it for today from my side. It's exactly 45 minutes on the time. So I really did wish that I could explain to you the force experienced by a charged body inside a magnetic field. It's very interesting. The directions of it, how to conclude, how to calculate the problems are very good. And cyclotron as a concept is also very good. The working principle is very interesting. Comes up on this. So it's okay. We'll do that in a separate class next time. So this is the first part, the theoretical part, the more important part, and that's the second part, which from where most numericals come. But again, that's equally important. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much.